Hello. I've gotten a few requests about my Bitter Dead build. I figured I'd just go over it real quick. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. There's not a whole lot to it. Um, quick go over the items real quick. It's mostly just mana, um, life on a few pieces, and res. The chest piece has damage taken for mana for life, which is important because I'm not going mom. I'm going almost mom. It's like 85%. Because mom has a rather big downside, which is if we just go to it real quick, 50% less mana recovery rate. I'm using my mana recovery rate in conjunction with warding rune of Equinox. So this has a 40% less mana regeneration rate. If you take this, it's a 50% less recovery rate. You just basically have no mana recovery rate. So you have to get it through like the skill tree, like here on gear, get about 85%, which is more than enough. But the reason why you want to use this is because I'm a Bitter Dead build. The way this rune works is it takes your mana recovery rate from regeneration, and this flat is what your ward recovery rate is. It's not like where it applies like your percentage increases to the ward regeneration rate. It just flat 1-to-1. And Bitter Dead is pretty costly. It's a 91 runic ward, so you need a lot of regen if you want to make it your main skill. I am a Gemling Legionnaire, and the big reason for that is because Gemling Legionnaire gives the alt quality 10% by default without quality scaling, which you will do. 10% chance to not destroy consumed corpses. Then you use an Enzuns. Enzuns gives you 25% chance. You get corpse conservation for another 25%, and then through the passive tree right here, you get another 25%. With all of my quality scaling, I have 96% chance to keep my corpses. Archmage build because mana. I'm using cast on minion death because Bitter Dead with sacrifice does count as killing your monsters or your minions dying. So you use Grip Colmac, you get the bonuses from that Arcane Surgeon Onslaught, and then you also use the cast on minion death. I'm using Refutation. This is good because it takes all of your ward, but because again you have such a high amount of ward regen, and this being a cooldown skill, it triggers on like when it's off cooldown, and it's like a 30 spirit cost, which is pretty nice. Blasphemy, Tempt Chains, just because it's nice. Archmage, because obviously Archmage build. I've balanced my support gems, so I get all three of these on Gemling, which is very nice. The blue skills have 30% less cost, is very nice because this Archmage scaling and Archmage on Gemling also gets increased mana. At my quality, it's 4.5% extra, so it's quite a bit. It doesn't show it. You see like how it doesn't show, it just says 6.2, but it does count. There's some little UI issues. Soul Offering, because why not? But in order to use Soul Offering, you need a lot of spirit, right? So I have 2 minions there and 10 there. My Bitter Dead at my level consumes up to 11, so I need 12 so that I can have Soul Offering. Then it's just your bog standard Frost Bomb, Ellie Weak with the weapon swap. I'm using Curse Carver for +5 Ellie Weak, just curse and exposure on my alt. Recently, Bitter Dead got a crit chance addition. I didn't have that before. It has a base 12% crit chance, so I swapped over to a slightly more crit chance version. It's very good. A couple of things with Bitter Dead to be aware about is Spell Echo is king, but it comes with the downside, and I'll just talk about it real quick. The downside is the performance issue that Bitter Dead inherently has currently. So Bitter Dead, I'm not sure what exactly is causing it, but the more enemies that you have Bitter Dead, the more variety of corpses you have consumed. It adds a it adds something to the data of Bitter Dead, and by doing so, it slowly increases your network latency. Now, Spell Echo, because it does it twice every cast, it will drastically increase this latency. So we'll do a map, and you will see when I get about halfway through the map that my latency is just like all over the place. It's just shooting up, down, up, down, up, down, and it slowly increases. So it will. I'll start noticing it once it starts like spiking up to like 100. But if I don't like leave my instance and I just keep playing, it can go up to like 1,000 latency, and I'm forced to just go to hideout. Which it's not like you have to like reset the game or anything. You just have to portal and then go back to hideout and then go back in, which is kind of fine in this game. Because you do vendor a lot. You do pick up a lot of rares and you vendor and all that. If you're not keen on that, I currently would not recommend this build, just because you do have to go to your hideout, like at least once a map. Now, if you don't want to use Spell Echo, and there's multiple reasons that you want to use Spell Echo. It isn't just like it's just like a good damage support. Where's this mob? There we go. Sorry, I got a little discombobulated there. Spell Echo. So the big reasons to use Spell Echo is because of sacrifice and the way minions follow you. Now I have, there's just you can put it on any skill or any button, but I have in my inputs. Let's see if I can find it quickly. It's kind of a pain. Right click. Direct minions. I have set on right click. So I just hold right click down, but your minions are always kind of behind you. Because even if you're directing them to just kind of go places, you see this little in between?
Not yet.
Like the delay between this little marker going down, your minions can decide to just attack or cast their spells or whatever. Because I'm using clerics so that they can revive each other. And they're ranged minions. So they just they end up kind of spaced apart a lot. I'll try to show it off. So the biggest reason to use Spell Echo is actually the delay on Spell Echo. So like I just said with your minions, because they're kind of getting distracted and they're always just following behind you, right? You just keep your cursor on you. And when your first cast might get your Skeletal Warriors, which is your 2 melee minions, right? It might get those, but the clerics, a lot of the time, you just won't hit the clerics. What Spell Echo does is that delay gives your clerics more time to catch up, and so it's usually the echoed cast that does the most. Like, will Bitter Dead the most of your minions. Which is important while clearing like in advance, so that you kind of always have just Bitter Deads coming up on you, because it's a skill that you can only deal damage if there's like corpses around you. You can't exactly like, you can play like this where you force them to go ahead of you, but we're playing PoE, right? So you're playing very aggressive. You're playing, you're kind of like, I see mobs, I dodge past them. I'm going forward. But it's fine because of the way the Spell Echo works, right? If I were to just take out Spell Echo and put in like considered casting, you'll notice a way lacking amount of Bitter Deads as I'm just progressing around. Sorry, I'm tired. My words aren't too great. So as you can imagine, like, it just becomes incredibly clunky without Spell Echo doing the delay. It's fine on these segments, like on Ritual, it's fine to not have Spell Echo. And why would I even talk about not using Spell Echo? Well, like I mentioned earlier with the latency issues, which you can kind of see it starting to spike. If you don't use Spell Echo, a lot of the times you can go almost the whole map and you might hit 100 latency, which is, it's fine. It's just a slowdown in this game. You'll feel it, but like you'll have enough damage and clear that it isn't. It doesn't really. It's more of an annoyance than anything.
A nice surprise for you.
But that annoyance is less so than the annoyance of the play without using Echo. So you'll just go to town. Until they fix it, which I've been making posts on the forum, so hopefully they're aware of it. I mean, they just buffed the skills, so I assume they're, at least someone's looking at it. Yeah. Let me see if I can get to the boss real quick. Kind of talking and playing is not my strong suit. Not a great map to showcase, but I'm still doing my Abyss chain. As you can see, you don't need to target anything. Like, these things are very aggressive with their targeting. So I'm gonna show the boss off real quick. There we go. Now, it won't do much damage right at the start because of the boss, and then, the bosses have like their little damage reduction at the very beginning. There we go. The play, so on the map boss, I played it very poorly. I don't even think I cast my curse at all. But you get to the map boss, you frost bomb, curse. You do this while you're waiting for the damage reduction, and then you just do this, and the boss will just instantly melt. As you saw when the damage actually started proccing. If you do this on the map boss, like in prep for them to like end their RP, like you just saw, they won't deal that much damage because the damage reduction is very aggressive for like the first couple of seconds. And you'll end up like killing all of your minions, then you'll have to wait for them to revive, blah 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 blah. You get it. Let's see. I want to show this latency issue, which I'm actually kind of surprised it didn't do it. On Stone Circles or Rogue Exiles, you can just channel these up, get your buff, and it's dead, Yeah. I'm not sure what else to go over. Oh, this is important. Darkness Enthroned. It's Fox Idol that gives quality. When it is body armor, you want to get to like 82%, because that gives you the breakpoint for the quality, and it also gives a decent amount for the Great Wolf rune of willpower for the damage taken from mana for life. This is just mana res, like I said earlier. You need a lot of spirit. I have like the exact amount I need. Sacrifice amulet is kind of important too, You can make sacrifices. Get it? You can make sacrifices on some of these. Like, you don't have to use the sacrifice, but in turn, what you lose is you'll be losing 3 clerics, which is fine. It's not optimal, obviously, but it. I feel like the build does enough damage, even if you go -3, because of the way this works. Even with 7, as long as you have enough chance to not consume, it'll be fine. I would not play this build unless you can get to like 90 to 91% chance to not consume, because the build, single target wise, relies entirely on your minions, and when these are down, it's like 15 seconds before they come up, because sacrifice itself gives slower. Where is it? Yeah, they revive 35% more slowly. But yeah, let's see, some other cool tech. So I'm Gemling, split personality, Templar. You can also do Witch or Sorceress, so you can start here. Templar is just what I found to be the most efficient, because this is a good node, this is a good node. The way to do this, in order to not have any of these, is you just path. Like, you get high once you swap. You don't want to level with this build. You want to swap to it. So once you can swap, you just path all the way over here to this jewel socket, or any of these jewel sockets really. You just path over here, socket it, and then you path to the start, whichever one you chose. And then you just unspec all these. A couple of cool things, little neat tricks is there is a, see that modifier? That's an alloy. No, it's an emotion. I think it is malediction. Don't quote me on that. But if you have an emerald, a ruby, and a sapphire, you get debilitate, which is 20% reduced movement speed, 10% reduced damage dealt, which is very good. It only lasts 1 second, but you are hitting enemies more than once per second. Blind doesn't really do anything, but you need it to get the debilitate. It's okay. Like, you don't have evasion, but enemies having 20% less accuracy does kind of help. It's just not like that crazy good. Elemental exposure on hit, you have frost bomb, but the elemental exposure is nice for clearing, especially if you get like a tanky rare. It's just less time that you actually have to like cast your debuffs. These aren't necessary at all. There's definitely better setups, but this is very cheap. Like, I think the emotion, it was like 4 exalts per, and at least 2 of these. So like, this one's double shock and ailments. This one's shock and consumed corpse and maximum mana. This is the only one that has like bad nodes, but I mean, it's okay. You could get like a time loss, put it here, would be a good spot, but you'd have to kind of move things around. I don't know, just didn't really seem that worth it to me. What else? I think that's it. I think that covers the build. I'm still not like optimized or any of this. Yeah, it's just doing so well that I have expensive gear. Don't get me wrong, but it's just there's a lot of, like, my charms kind of are bad. Simple as that. I could use better charms. Like, I have wasted stats on some of my gear. Like, I don't need these attacks. These flat damage to attacks. Those could be better, but it's kind of like whatever. Yeah. Build's really good though. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.